In this next interview, Jennifer McLean. She is a transformational expert, and I think there's a twist in here. Wait till you watch and see. Jennifer, thank you so much for coming today. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Oh, it's a delight being here. I'm really honored. Thank you.
Well, to start off, tell me about yourself and your business.
Well, I'm a healer, and I'm also a business strategist. I worked in corporate America for many, many years, and worked in the tech industry for quite a while. I helped to launch Yahoo Canada in 1995.
Launch what?
Yahoo.
Oh my gosh.
In Canada, yeah.
Okay, wait. So pretty much everything you just said is like, what?
Yeah, it's kind of antithetical.
Yes.
Two different worlds.
And that's why I love this series.
Yes.
It's perfect.
Yes.
So first, explain what a healer is.
That's a great question. A healer is someone who can, let me talk about the way I do healing. Mm-hmm. I do healing so that I hold a space for people to transform, and I give them tools and techniques and processes so that they can continue the transformation long after we're done. So basically, I appreciate their system as it's expressing itself. And when you appreciate someone's system as it expresses, they are seen. And when someone is seen, it creates instant shift and transformation. So that's kind of where I start, is by being present and being in a state of neutrality so that I can see them and what they're doing and the coping mechanisms they've created and the subconscious beliefs they've created from childhood upset and how that's impacting their life right now.
Is this physical, mental? When you're healing, what are you healing?
Yes.
Ah.
Physical, mental, emotional. And I focus a lot on the emotional. In our society, especially women, we have not been encouraged to express our emotions. In fact, many women are often accused of being overly emotional by our beautiful men. And part of the reason is because the beautiful men just don't access their emotions in the same way. They just don't. It's a biological imperative. We do it differently than men. Mm-hmm. And so because men have been dominant in our society, there has been this thing that women are overly emotional. And yet, for both men and women, it's through the emotions that actual healing and transformation occurs. It's through the actual expression of the emotion. And most people don't express their emotion. Most people avoid their emotions. And so I really play with physical, emotional, and mental, as well as spiritual, with an emphasis subtly. Most people won't know that that's what I'm doing. But my intention is to work through the emotional body to really create a kind of a frequency and energy of allowing that allows the system to finally express the emotion. And my system of healing, called the Spontaneous Transformation Technique, is specifically designed to assist in expressing the emotions that we couldn't express when we were children. Most trauma occurs from 0 to 7 years old. And in that time frame is when we establish who we are, what life is. We make conclusions about all of that. And those conclusions are often wrong. Yes. And so we spend our life then trying to unwind what happened then. So part of what I do is assist them in resolving that trauma without going into the trauma and the memories.
So someone comes to you and you said you assist them and then you teach, like, I'm coming to you, what happens?
Sure. Most of the work I do now is to large groups. So I create, that's part of my entrepreneurial side, which is I create funnels and I create marketing conversations, mostly with women it's mostly women who are attracted to this work, although more and more men are starting to be attracted to it. And so I create a vibrational, energetic conversation that allows them to join me. And then I create processes and techniques and transformational ways of moving this energy.
Okay, wait, you lost me. Explain that. So you help healers market their business? Is that what you're saying?
No, I help people find their light. I help people let go of the old trauma and find a place of possibility and flow and joy and even happiness.
What you just said totally speaks to me. You help people find their light.
Yes.
I really think that speaks to many women in this audience. And maybe, do you feel like, what's going on? Why can't, is it all the trauma we've experienced?
Yes. It's trauma, but I also trust the trauma. So a lot of people move through their life, especially at this moment. Most people who are watching programs like this are ready to make a real shift. And so one of the things I like to share with them right away is there's nothing going wrong. That all of life is here for you in every moment. Every moment, whether your mind has decided it's good or bad, is here for you, nudging you to an expansion that might not be possible without the current set of circumstances that you're in.
Right.
And so when we're in that place, we can look at life as not being for us, being against us, and that we are somehow victimized by our circumstances. That's never the truth, although I get that it feels that way.
It's never
ever the truth. But I get that it can feel that way. I get that.
Right.
I've been in those situations when it's like, why me? And yet, why not you? So part of it is, from my perspective, from a spiritual perspective, is that the soul is on a powerful, amazing adventure of evolution. And so we come to this planet, this is my belief system, and if any of your listeners don't believe this, that's totally okay. It's all right. But it helps me. It helps me to believe it. It helps me to have a really great life, to believe that my soul came to this adventure and created a series of experiments and a series of adventures that the mind would perceive as both good and bad. And each one of them propelled me in a direction. I had a very challenging childhood, narcissism and abuse, sexual abuse and alcoholism. And there's no question when I look back on that childhood that my soul chose that so that I could do what I'm doing right now. I could talk to your audience right now. Those set of circumstances created a set of coping mechanisms and patterns and upsets and stuck and blockage and self-sabotage behaviors that when I saw them, consciously brought my attention to them and unwound them slowly but surely over my lifetime, I got to a place where I could say, I can help just about anyone. Chronic illness. I had cancer, overcame cancer. Chronic illness, and I even had my own narcissistic tendencies. And so just about anyone that comes to me, this is my calling. I can assist them now because I get it. I understand pain. I understand physical pain. I understand emotional pain. I understand so much of it. So I trust implicitly my life. I trust my soul. I trust that my soul brought me through all these incredible adventures that allowed me to not only overcome them, but understand them and create systems and processes and techniques to help other people do the same. So everyone that's listening here, you are on a soul journey. You're on a journey of evolution.
It's so weird because our series thus far has been very logical. And I myself, you have, you come from corporate America.
Yeah.
I have an engineering degree.
Yeah.
And I am being pulled exactly what you're talking about.
I think
and
many of us are.
I think that is the point.
Yes.
How funny. I've interviewed 50 women, and every time I'm like, no, this will go a certain way. We'll talk about marketing. Here we are again, going into the woo. Yeah. And you know what? It's time.
Yeah, it is. It is. The world is, it's the answer for what's next.
Thank you.
It's the answer for what's next. So in 2019, in the December, I believe it was 2019, we had a really interesting transit that happened astrologically and astronomically. that actually moved all of us into the age of Aquarius. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius.
So
Okay?
you mean all?
It's
Okay,
here.
I'm gonna say this. All of us,
All of
star
us.
seeds,
All
like
of us.
light workers, all of us are here.
All of us are here.
Okay.
All of us up here. Some of us came a long time ago to be at this moment. Some of us are just being, some of them are just being born now. But the age of Aquarius is also the age of the feminine.
Ah,
Okay?
yes.
So,
Yes.
right now, astrologically and astronomically, the last time this happened was the end of the Black Plague and the beginning of the Renaissance, right? So, but we're on another level of it. So, there's a calling. There's a calling. There's anyone who's,
Women are feeling
Right?
it. Yes, we're feeling it.
and people who are attracted to this kind of material are, yes, they are being called, yes, and they're being called to be more authentic, to be more real, to be more powerful. And it's not the age of Aquarius, the kind of power is different than the old, which was power over.
Yes.
And I trust that too. I trust that there was a reason for that until there wasn't.
Right.
It was there until it isn't. Now we're moving into this new age. And, there's these 25,000 year cycles, 10,000 year cycles, 5,000, 2,500 year cycles. We're at the end of one of all of those. It's starting into a new one. And the prophecies say that we're moving into a time of 10,000 years of peace. And so guess what happens before peace?
Disruption.
All the shadow.
Yeah.
Disruption,
Yeah.
shadow. So everything that's been in the dark, that's been in the shadows, is being up
Yeah.
for review and out. That's not only in our society and our world, but it's also within ourselves. So everything is being up for review and out, right? So it's coming up, and review means conscious understanding and attention. Consciousness, looking at it, seeing, what's happened and the patterns and the old beliefs that we've held that have influenced our life until it doesn't, until we change our mind. And that's where all of us are at right now, changing our minds.
And I just want to reaffirm, it's all your stuff coming up.
Yes.
It's painful. It's
Yes.
challenging.
It's messy.
It's confusing. It's messy. It's
Confusing.
scary.
It can be.
Yeah.
It can be. And so, there's that. I'm a big believer of feeling your feelings, as I've described, the emotional. The idea is to express the emotion, and then through the expression of the emotion comes this opportunity for more space in our field, if you will. And in that space of space is an opportunity for power. Mm-hmm. And it's a different kind of power than I'm successful, I make a lot of money, I drive a BMW. All those things are okay, but that's not what power is anymore.
No.
Power is authentic being. And in authentic being, the heart is allowed to open. And in a heart opening, we are way more powerful. And what's interesting is then what happens then is natural protection. Natural protection. So a lot of the woo-woo stuff of the new age, if you will, was I have to shield myself, I have to protect myself, and I'm saying, no, be you.
bigger.
Be you, be bigger.
Oh, it's so weird because you're, I think women who understand what we're talking about get what we're talking about. And lately I have been experiencing that I'm afraid to go around certain people because I feel like I have to protect myself. Mm-hmm. That I'm going to, we as women sometimes take on,
Yes.
taking care of and and just taking on.
Okay, so let me
help me.
Can I give you a little? I'm going to give you a little process here.
Yes,
that will
please.
allow you to now stand in any room and be in good shape. My big thing right now is being in good shape.
But within your family, within like
Any room.
Okay, good.
Any room. A room with a boss that is overbearing and bully. In a room with a narcissistic sibling, parent, whatever.
Right.
In a room where you are simply intimidated.
Right.
Okay, so here's a little process. It's super easy. Okay, so I play this thing called the what if game with myself. And so what happens is our mind is the one that creates in our world, right? The mind is the catalyst for taking the soul's intention, working through what I call the heart, and the mind then makes it happen. It's the place where action occurs to make things happen in the world. And so the mind is the one that's creating both the upset and the joy. Mm-hmm. That's where it's coming from. Mm-hmm. So it's always a choice. And so I play this what if game with my mind. So I'll give you an example. Affirmations. I am incredibly wealthy, right? My mind immediately says,
no, you're not.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's why affirmations are difficult. So instead, I use what if. What if I were incredibly wealthy? Mm. What would that feel like? I asked myself this. What would that feel like? What would that be like? And then immediately what you're doing is you are in a field of creation. Mm. And you're creating this vibration, this energy of creation. And you're standing in it now. And what's happening is there's space. There's more space. And when, just that old thinking of just have time to think, you know that? Mm-hmm. The space gives you this energy, and space and time are connected, right? So if you have more space, you actually warp time. You create more time. So what if allows you to move into the energy of what is, not what the mind has decided is wrong and bad and in judgment, or even in self-righteous indignation, all that. There's a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
And so what if, so here's how to be powerful. Get back to that point.
Yeah.
What if I were standing in the center of my soul right now? So play that with me.
Okay.
Play the what if game with yourself, and everyone can do it now. Just ask yourself, total play and pretend and fantasy. Okay, so we know that we can't do this, but what if we could? So what if right now I were standing, say this to yourself, in the center of my very soul? What if I could do that? What if I could stand in this place of no thing? No conditions, no attachments, no expectations, no thing. In this infinite, eternal void of love. What if I could be there right now? And again, the mind might come in and say, I don't know. You can turn your mind and say, thanks very much, beautiful mind. I get that you have some issues, or maybe you're a little nervous about it. It's okay. We're just going to play. We're just playing. We're just pretending. Thank you very much for the intervention. And yet, I'm going to go back into, what if I were actually standing in the center of my soul in my power? There we go. There's a nice shift that just happened there.
Yeah.
So what if I were in the center of my soul right now, and I could feel and sense my soul. I could feel the connection to my soul. I could feel the light and the love that I am. I could really stand in this place of neutrality. There we go. There's a nice shift there. Now, if I were there, and I could stay there just for a second or two, I could really feel the space that's around me. There we go. There's a lovely shift that's happening here as everyone moves to this. So just so you know, I have this gift from working with hundreds of thousands of people that I can feel your audience. So I've got everyone here. I can feel them.
And will you please tell us, no matter when somebody's watching this, no matter when you're watching it, no matter when.
From now until the end of time, that's what's programmed in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone, I can feel everyone, and there's a group shift that happens that raises all of us up right now as we stand in the center of our soul. There we go.
Wait. That image you just created of all the women
Yeah.
who need to hear this, all of us at this moment together,
Yes.
together, going through this.
Yes.
That's why this is here. So thank you for keep going. But I just
Sure.
want to remind everyone that we're doing this all
Yes.
as a feminine power. We're all letting it go.
Yes.
We're all right here
right now.
together.
In fact, I think that you and me and everyone watching made an agreement for this very moment to happen before we even came to this planet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Center of the soul. Center of the soul. And there's a shift that's happening as we all together now, are standing in the center of the soul. So there really is no such thing as time and space. It's all happening simultaneously. So no matter when someone is listening to this, they're part of this.
All of
They're
us
part
together.
of this. Absolutely. Okay, good. So now, as we're in the center of the soul, in the infinite, eternal void of love, and the no thing, the still point, the stillness, no conditions, no attachments, no expectations, just 0 point. There we go. Whoa, there's a nice shift. Okay, so now just imagine. Everyone imagine now that you're about to go into a situation that has been challenging in the past, a room, a person, whatever, okay? So, but this time you're going to go in from this place. Just imagine now. So imagine now going into that situation from this place. And is it okay if you tell me what's happening now? What's happening for you as you go into that place from this place of center of the soul?
Well, I just clicked into, instead of, do I have a challenging person in my life? And when I'm not in this place,
Yes.
first I want to say, I do this and it's life changing. And so I appreciate you walking us through what kind of happens. And when you're not in this place and you have that person, it's all reaction.
That's right.
You're just
That's right.
guarding yourself and fighting back.
Perfect. So here's why. Okay? When we're in the center of our soul, we've created space, right? So if you imagine that your universe is like this big ball,
Yes.
right? It's like the proprioceptors. You know what proprioceptors are? It's little nerve endings in the skin and the arms that indicate where your limbs are in space. So imagine now you've got this big, huge ball around you. You've created this extra space, and this ball now has stronger boundaries, borders, if you will. It's like a semi-permeable membrane that is protecting us naturally, because we now have flowing through this space a conscious understanding that we are protected,
Right.
which creates power. A conscious understanding that there is light moving through this space that creates stronger borders. So now we go into a situation and the proprioceptors are already telling us long in advance, hey, something's coming, and instead we see them. And we, just like martial arts.
It's like in Matrix when they can.
That's right.
Yes.
That's exactly right. We just
Yes.
got chills. You totally got it.
Yes,
So
I
like
saw
martial artists, the energy's coming towards us and we go, look at that. Poochoo.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
moves right past us.
You just explained that's so cool. Like instead of an animal fight or flight
Yes.
reaction,
Yes.
you're in your seat of power.
That's right.
And can come out and just
So
flow.
when we don't have space, which most of us don't, our field is literally collapsed. And what that means is our field is right here, right? And so now we're in reaction mode. All we can do from this energy is react, because the whatever's coming is like all of a sudden it's there. It's like, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Ah.
Yeah.
And instead, what if I were in the center of my soul and I could feel my light and power? I could feel that I am that I am. Right? And it's real.
Do we create from there? Okay,
Yes.
what else can we do from that?
This is the foundation of everything.
okay.
So when we're in this place,
Yeah.
We are now more in contact with our soul. We are now more it's like the whispers of our divine self can talk to us from here. Because when we're here, we can't hear anything.
Yeah.
We can't hear our intuition. We're full on in reaction mode. But when we have space, we have these natural proprioceptors that are, which is our antenna, which is our gut, which is our intuition, saying, hey, look over there. Look over there. But if we're here, we can't hear anything. We're just in protection and I'm a victim. Instead, we move into space and we have a natural propensity to see so many more opportunities. And so when we're in this place, every time I create a new course, I do two things. I move into this place, and then in the center of my soul, I invite the spokesperson for my customers. So there's a single spokesperson that represents all the customers that are going to love this course. I invite them into the space. And then I say, what do you need? What do you need? And then they tell me what the course is. And then they tell me how they want to hear about it. That's the marketing funnel, the marketing conversation. They tell me who they are. Now I have an avatar for my business, and an avatar that I know them because they're telling me who they are. And most of my avatars are the me that was before I started my business. And I know that now. I mean, that's something I coach entrepreneurs with is talk to the you that was before you created what you're creating.
Can you give us an example of what that sounds like, the back and forth? Like, what would you hear?
Sure. I recently created a course called The Soul Power, and some of the content I'm sharing with you is what the course is about. And so part of it has to do with what's going on in my own life. Most of entrepreneurial things happen because of what we're experiencing in our life right now. So it's perfect timing. Everything we do, we're doing for us. We're doing for us first, right? And so the Soul Power Formula was a course that I started to feel like, something needs to happen here, right? So I'm working with one of my clients. I do take on private sessions rarely. It's where most of the new material comes through. And I'm working with someone, and the Soul Power Formula came through in that moment. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool. And so then I was called by my customers and said, we want this. We want this. So I went into the center of my soul, and I had a little meeting with the avatar for all the people, the person that would represent the soul group. And I said, what do you want? What does it look like? And so it started describing the course. And it said, I want 10 sessions, and I want to do a live interactive 3-hour event at the end. And I want to have the conversation, in order for me to get into the course, I want you to give away the entire Soul Power Formula. I'm like, what? Like, that's not how marketing works. You don't give away the farm, right? So then I'm like, okay. So it was a webinar, and I also have my skill set. So they leveraged my skill set and said, I know how to create funnels, and I do all my own copywriting and that kind of stuff. And so it said they want the funnel to look like this, similar to another funnel I did, and that they want me to do this long webinar, movie length, that gives them the actual formula. I'm like, are you sure? Because the marketing part of me is going, don't give away the formula. That's what the course is. But they said, yes, give us the formula. And it's like, okay, but what's the course then? And then they said, well, here's 4 steps of the formula. Step 3 is shifting the energy. So give them all the things that you do to shift the energy. There was a dozen of them. So the course is, the Soul Power Formula is 4 steps, and the course is all the things that can shift energy. So now they've got this toolkit. And the other thing they said to me was, we want worksheets. We don't want to just have an experiential, which all my courses are experiential. You listen, you shift, you change. We want the worksheet so that we can do it on our own. Like, oh, cool. So, and then I created the product, and I created the funnel, and it's been one of the most successful launches so far. And what's happening, though, is each time I do something for my business, I'm listening more and more and more carefully to the intuition, to sometimes I go to these masterminds, and I'm like so influenced by all these successful people, and I'm interested to go to a new one now, because I get to now be in the center of my soul and say, nope, 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 oh, yes.
Well, that was my question. So does it, like you were in the center of your soul, and this thing comes up, give it all away, and you're like, what? No. What? No. How
do you trust it?
How do you trust it? And then you've done it so many times now, you know that's truth? Like, how do you trust it, and how do you know what if it's not right?
Okay, this is really cool. So the mind is the only thing that's going to say that it's not right.
Okay, give that to me again. And
The mind is the one that says it's not right. Okay? So I just watched a special on Alanis Morissette. Are you familiar with Alanis
Yes.
Morissette? Okay. So she was 19 years old when she wrote
Jagged Little Pill.
She was a Debbie Gibson-like pop star before that, which I didn't know actually. And she was pop star city, and she had had a very challenging experience with the industry being so young and basically on her own in that industry. And there had been abuse. And so she had a lot to say about being a woman in the music industry. And she was told over and over again that she's not a writer. And so what happens is we can either believe that or not believe that. When we get to the point where we're in the center of our soul, we get to say, it's like a natural filter that allows us to understand what's real and what's not real, right? It's none of my business what anyone thinks of me, right? My business is to be connected and to listen for the whispers of my, my divine inspiration, my divine impulse. Divine impulses are like, they say, stop the car and go into that store, right? And suddenly we go into the store and there's the man of our dreams getting milk, right? Right? So we listen to that divine impulse. I call it the I am pulse, right? I am pulse, impulse.
Oh.
And so how do we trust it? Well, Alanis Morissette is such a great example of that. She was compelled to do this. She was compelled to write these songs. She was compelled. It's a calling. And when the challenge is sometimes we as women don't trust that, and we ask opinions, and those people say, what are you talking about? That won't work.
What about if the voice... Okay, so I'm just going to keep riffing on this.
Please.
Okay, so it comes in lots of different forms. And I'm just showing you some more. That won't work. That's stupid. That I can't do that. Is it all of those?
Yes, all of those are your mind.
Anything.
All of those are your mind.
Okay, so the only I'm going to flip it. So I always tell people your intuition doesn't speak in fear. Is that kind of the concept?
Yes.
Okay.
That's brilliant. That's exactly
right. If
right.
you're in your power and
Yes.
or someone says, how do I decide? I say, go into that, so
The center
funny,
of the
the center
soul.
of your soul, your power
Yes.
position, and
Yes.
choose from there.
That's right.
But it's so scary.
It's only scary if you think it's scary.
Ooh.
It's not really scary. And, with everything, like learning a new skill, right? Beginner's mind is so important. Like, if you're learning how to play the piano, you're not going to play a concerto next week. You're just not. So is that scary? Like something as simple as playing the piano or learning how to ride a bicycle, learning how to drive. Is it scary? Well, yeah, because we don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
But once we start, it's just one step and then the next step and the next step and the next step. And the key is when you're in the center of your soul, you're listening for what's the next breadcrumb.
Right.
You can hear it. It's like, and it's okay to see the end point. It's okay, because I call that the big, hairy, audacious intention, right? They call it a BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal. I call it intention because goals to me are too restrictive. And my mind has come up with the goal. And if I have an intention, that leaves so much room for the soul to come in and make it happen.
Intention.
And so my big, hairy, audacious intention is to, whatever it is to, I'm writing a new book now, and it's going to be a global bestseller, and I'm going to write a musical with it. And that's a huge intention.
Yeah.
Right? And so could it be scary? Well, for me, it's not scary anymore because it's just like, well, duh, of course I'm going to do it when I do it. And if I'm not doing it, it's because it's not time.
Well, so sometimes you open up and you're like, please, okay, ready for the answer, and nothing comes in.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Nothing's great. Nothing is no thing. Nothing, the Buddhists say the greatest place of being is the no thing, is the place of I don't know. That's a very high level spiritual place of being. But what happens in our mind has decided that there's something wrong with that. So, people, I work with people and they say, nothing's happening. I'm like, oh, you're the advanced one. You're in the advanced energy of no thing. Congratulations. Because from the no thing is where all possibilities and pure flow, pure potentiality is right there in the no thing. And so it's our mind that has a problem with that. Now, there's this other thing that I call the gap, God's area of preparation. We hold a big, hairy, audacious intention, right? So mine is to write this best-selling fictional book, which I've never written a fictional book before, and write a musical. And I've already started the musical, but now I'm going backwards and doing the book. And so I'm in God's area of preparation right now, because if I were in pure alignment with that being done, I would be doing it, finishing it, completing it, and moving on to bringing it into the world. But that's not happening. What if that's okay? That in order for me to get to that place of, for anyone, creating a business, whatever it is, things have to change within the way I think, within my mindset, with my heart. Things have to shift.
And I'm going to stop you.
Yeah.
You know that because it's not coming in, flowing in?
Okay. If it's not flowing in, it means you're not quite there yet.
Okay.
That's okay. So in God's area of preparation, you're now taking all these little steps that seem like they're not directly related to that, but must happen in order for you to get there.
And does
Must
that
happen.
mean you just go day to day
Yep.
and do what?
Stand in the center of your soul.
Okay.
And listen for what's the next step. What's the next step? What's the next step? What's the next step? I started writing the musical 5 years ago, and I was not ready. The book is unusual. It's an unusual book. And it's it's a fictional book about a woman who basically overcomes sexual abuse and lives a life that is that can find happiness. And each time I think I found happiness, there's another level, right? There's another level to it. There's more happiness, in each day. And, I'm still not the happiest person in the world. There's still more to play with. But I couldn't have done it 5 years ago. And most of us in hindsight see that it's not going to happen until the minute it happens, not 1 second before. And if we can trust that, it's going to happen exactly when it happens. There's a plan, there's definitely some free will in there. There's a plan. The free will can, it's like 1 year to 5 years difference, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Well, tell us more about it's going to happen.
Okay. Let's think of our soul. Before we got here, we decided that we were going to have this amazing adventure. Like just the best adventure. So just imagine that we're going to plan a trek to the Himalayas. Just imagine that we're going to do that, okay? So let's liken it to how our soul is going to imagine this lifetime. So if we're here planning a trek to the Himalayas, we have to plan a lot of stuff, right? We have to go to REI and buy a bunch of stuff. We have to book planes, trains, and automobiles. We have to maybe book a Sherpa. We don't know how to do any of that stuff, right? It's all new to us. Are we going to get the right hotel? So we get to the airport and suddenly something happens and our plane is late or canceled, so we have to travel through a whole nother way. We have to spend 3 days in Switzerland or something right? That's the soul adventure. We plan a trip. We don't know exactly how it's going to go. That's what we're doing here in our soul. We planned this amazing adventure and trip, but we have free will, and things are going to happen that allow us to evolve our soul from the experiences that that are happening here. If we believe that belief helps me every day to know that there's nothing broken, there's nothing going wrong in my life. There's only an opportunity to evolve from this beautiful gift of this moment. This incredible moment has presented me with this beautiful gift. And when I can move into that and use that moment as a point of access instead of a point of victimhood, then I get to accelerate my journey. I don't have to stay in the gap for quite as long.
We are so busy and we're always looking forward or behind. but to look at each moment as the access point to
Yeah.
to what? To listening to more?
The access point to us. I mean, it's us. We get to be who we get to just be. We just get to be. You know, it's like we're so distracted away from our greatness, and our greatness comes from recognizing this moment of being. And as we just be, we get to see, wow, I'm pretty cool. You know, I'm actually pretty cool. And it's not, I'm not better than you.
You're just you.
I'm just me.
Yeah,
and you're just you. And like right now, I don't know if you're noticing this, but there's a real profound energy here. It's making me cry.
I know.
Like it's this profound energy where you're being and I'm being. And that being is a force. We are influencing thousands, maybe millions right now, just by being. Just by being. So just imagine, as an entrepreneur, that women who are watching this start or move their business into the next stage from this place of being, like Alanis Morissette did. That's what she did. She didn't listen to anyone. It was none of her business. She was compelled to create this music that changed the entire industry for women. It changed the whole music industry for women. No one has come along and done what she did for women in this industry. She did it because she was just being her, in her power. I believe that's where it came from. And of course, in our power, our gifts come through. We can see our gifts. They're right there.
And on to that, I've experienced where you're in this center of your soul, you look around and doors start opening.
Absolutely.
Magical coincidences.
Synchronicities, coincidences.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's not about being successful. That's not what this is about. You know, the law of attraction, blah, blah, blah. That stuff was really important because it cracked open a door in our thinking.
Yeah.
But to me, this is about global change. This is about changing the world. If we had 750 million people, 10% of the world right now, that lived from this place of being, we would create a resonant energy that would awaken the whole planet, all of humanity. And I think part of what's happening now is that there are more and more and more people joining it. So it's not about creating a BMW or a new house, although those things will be there. Mm-hmm. It's about being present in your power, and that power is a creative force that opens yourself to those things, but way, way more. It influences everything. It's, if you can imagine, all of humanity is like we're all on a web, this enormous, beautiful spider web, and all of us are little flecks on this. And if we had 750 million flecks, all in place of being, creating space, that beautiful, powerful space. And that space now contains the potency of our understanding of our light and love and power, and that we are a creative force. That infiltrates and buzzes the whole web so that all of us kind of go, whoa, what's happening?
It's that quote that we all know, and it expands others to lift into their power, and they want to know what you know. Your customers come to you.
Yes.
Tell me one of your most favorite stories of someone you've helped step into that and what they've done. Tell me one of your favorite stories.
Gosh. So I believe that marketing is 100% energy, 100%.
Ooh.
100%. Right? So it 100% comes from you. Right? So when we stand in that 100%, we can now see our customers and give to them. Give, right? And when we see them, we can help them to open to receive.
That part, explain it to me.
Okay.
I followed you up until there.
Okay. When we are in a place of pure service first, money second, and you know, I had to learn this the hard way, by the way. My when I first started my business, I talked all the time about being service first and money second, and I wasn't. The business went down. It was great. It was great. I was so glad it went down, because it went down so that I could learn that lesson, really learn that lesson. And so when we come from this place of service, they can sniff it and feel it and feel trust and safe, so that they will buy. They're compelled to buy from us. Because we have their best interest at heart. We're not wink, wink, nudge, nudge, we're going to take your money.
Right.
We are, so when we think about our customers as who are they going to be when we're done with them? Who are they going to be when they go through my Soul Power program? Who are they going to be? That allows me to then create the marketing funnel. What that also allows is an opening in their field to receive. And when they can receive, they can take on material in an accelerated way. And actually, you get more people that participate, you get more people that have results. Because you're not just taking their money. You have their best interest at heart, energetically, consciously.
You bring them up.
You bring them up
to that level.
And
where
so
they can,
the people I've worked with, I've had people that went from terminal cancer to non-terminal cancer. I've had people that I had when I was doing my entrepreneurial stuff. I don't do that quite as much anymore. I had one student that she went from making $50 an hour to making $5,000 a client, and $25,000 a month in a 5-month period of time. My favorite story is about those people who discover their power. And it's not about, I got the BMW, I got the job of my dreams, I got the house of my dreams, because all that stuff just happens as an aside. My favorite stories are when they tell me, I was going into my boss who's a bully, and I went into the center of my soul. And I was able to have a conversation that was far different, because there was an opening. He asked me questions. There was an energetic opening for me. And the entire thing shifted. People who, the biggest one I find is people who hate their jobs, right? If you hate your job and you quit your job, guess what your new job is going to be?
You're going to hate
exactly
your new job.
If you hate your job and you start your own business, guess what's going to happen? You're going to hate your business. So love what is. Love what's in front of you. And when you love what's in front of you, when you love what's in front of you, even if it's a pencil or your chair or a computer, it shifts the energy so much that the circumstances of your job start to shift. So I bring that up because I've had many, many, many people share with me that they were running away from their job. If you're escaping, stop. Stop escaping, because you're going to bring all that energy with you. Pause, stop. What's happening? What's going on? What are you feeling? Move into the center of your soul. Honor what you're feeling. It's real. Move into the center of your soul. And then start approaching your life from this new place of perspective. And my favorite stories are the people who say, I hated my job, and every time they say it, I said, give me 5 things that you love. Oh, and it's hard because they hate their job. 5 things that you love. Well, I love my computer, I love my chair. And then they start thinking, oh, I actually love that, and I love that, and I love that person, I love that. And then they start having this love fest with it. And then they share with me months later, I got a promotion, I love my job, my boss moved away, that horrible person that was retired, that, all these things shifted around them. And they moved from being on before the gap, into the gap, and then outside of the gap, into something they never imagined was possible.
So we call this series The Millionaire Within Her. When I say that to you, tell me what you want to share with us.
When I started my business, I went from being a corporate America, and I quit cold turkey, and I went into online marketing, and I failed miserably, and I was 10 days away from living in my car. And I said, okay, I have no choice now. I might as well become a healer. You don't make any money being a healer. I might as well be a healer. all right, I'll downsize, I'll get a studio apartment, I'll live a simpler life. I guess that's what I'll do. So then I used, I created a system in the technology industry of marketing called the credibility branding model. I'm like, okay, well, how would I start my practice? It's like, because I had, tiny little practices that came and went over 30 years. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll start this program where I interview the leaders in spirituality, and by proxy, I might become one. And then I could promote my healing work and get clients. Well, that actually, when you go into that, you go, oh, there's an idea, right? Center of the soul, the idea comes. I can do that. It's based on some of my skill set. Yeah, okay, good. Then I attracted a coach who taught me how to monetize that model. 18 months later, I made my first million. Oh. Right? I made my first million doing something that, I'm getting emotional. That was my calling, be the healer. I trained 30 years ago to be, it's 35 years ago now to be a healer. And I did it kind of part-time. And that's what I was supposed to be doing. And I was fighting it because my mind had a belief. My mind had a belief that I couldn't make money from it. I was definitely about money at the time. So when I finally surrendered and said, all right, I'll be a healer, fine, I won't make any money, bam.
It's like, boom.
Right? So the millionaire within is the gift and the calling that you are hearing right now, that your mind is saying, that's not going to make any money, that's not going to do anything. It didn't stop someone like Alanis Morissette. She didn't care about any of it. She just followed the breadcrumbs. So the millionaire within you is the yearning, the calling to bring your gifts forward, to contribute. And it might be to contribute as a mom or a grandma. And maybe, I'm actually seeing some of your audience that shifts their whole energy around their family. And that might actually lead to something. I'm seeing actually one person, a grandmother, who's going to support their grandkid to be the entrepreneur, and she's going to help them. Like, right?
Perfect.
I can see it. There's other people who are going to try and seemingly fail. And failure is the best thing you can do as an entrepreneur. Best. The most powerful insights and possibilities flow out of perceived failure. None of it's failure ever. So there's going to be people in your audience that are their mind's going to say, failed. No. There's always the breakdown happens right before the breakthrough. So many people stop at that breakdown. Don't stop. Don't stop. Find the center of your soul again. Listen to the breadcrumbs. Listen to the I am pulse, the impulses. Keep going. You've got this.
Remind us where we're all going. Remind us that we need to step into this. There's a bigger picture of all of us women now.
Yeah. So it's not about the men. There's nothing wrong with men, but I love men. Men are amazing, protective providers. They're our heroes.
They are.
They're awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. But we as women, it's time for us to pick up the gauntlet. Mm-hmm. It's time for us to create a whole new paradigm of what's possible. Not working within the framework of the old, but inventing a new framework, a new way of being, and that is going to empower so many more people. The masculine has been in a state of imbalance, and it was needed in order for what's happening now to happen. And so now it's time for women to create from that place of connection to our soul, from that beautiful, brilliant intuition. And when we create from there, we're going to create frameworks and infrastructures for new things to happen. I do a prayer every single night. There's 150,000. This is my guidance told me this. There's 150,000 men, women, and kids right now out there who can invent the products that are needed to contain and shift climate change in the next 5 years. Mm-hmm. Every night I pray for those 150,000 people, right? So some of the 150,000 might be listening here right now. Actually, some of them are. And so the women, this is what women do. This is what women entrepreneurs do. Men don't, no offense to men again, but male entrepreneurs aren't at home praying for the 150,000 inventors in the world that are going to change climate. That's just what women do. We bring an energy that's different, and the world is ready for it now. It's ready for it, and we need you to stand in your power. Yes. We need you to stand in your greatness, in the center of your soul, in your state of pure, divine beingness, and that beingness can shift everything.
And what I'm getting from you is when you're scared, when you're in doubt, remember this interview, remember this time. Use it and know we're all going through it.
Yes.
We're all doing this
and
together.
It's all here for you. It's for you.
Yeah.
It's here to, as a catalyst, to break you open into your yearning and calling.
I have chills. Thank you so much for sharing all of your gifts.
Thank you.
And who you are. Just you do be. So thank you so much.
Do be, yes. You do be too. Thank you. This is great. Thank you so much.
Did you catch that twist I was talking about? I hope you did. And I hope you took a ton of notes and learned as much as I did.
Hi, my name is Karen Thomas. But guess what? That is not important. What's important is your success online. I can help you start a successful, thriving business online, no matter how many times you have failed. If you have a desire to win, you can. All you need is Wi-Fi, a laptop or desktop, and be able to follow simple directions. Reach out to me and I can show you exactly how.